5.
Oh, I think there was a delay. It's okay, I'll fix it later.
No.
Sometimes when I go to click play, like, it doesn't go, and I have to, like, click it again. It's fine.
It doesn't go, or you just don't click it
No,
one time?
I feel like it's my trackpad. I don't know. I look naked. I'm wearing a shirt, I promise.
I told myself last night I'm going to get brunch with Kaylee. I was like, oh, I'm gonna dry my hair so that it looks nice tomorrow. And I was already mad because I had done my hair on Thursday, fresh wash everything, and then on Friday we picked so many rocks. My hair smelled so bad that I had to wash it because it was giving me a headache. And I just like build up resentment when I have to do a quick turnaround on washing my hair.
I feel that. I like to go like 5 days. That's what I try to do.
Yeah, I mean, ideally it'd be a month. I hate washing and doing my hair.
When I had really long hair, like a year ago, I hated washing my hair. Now that it's like here, it's not as big of a task.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where like I dread doing it, but once it's done, and especially if I actually like style it, then I'm like, oh wow, I have nice hair. I should do this more often because then I appreciate it. But
no, my hair is still gross from the 5K. I haven't washed it since then, which is crazy.
Well, this is a perfect transition because that was the first and pretty much only thing I did want to talk about. So you ran a 5K. Tell us, how did it go? Did you need to use your inhaler?
I actually didn't use my inhaler, which I'm happy about, but that's just because I ran so slowly. I should have... It was fun. It was, like, so great. There's so many people, like, thousands of people, like 30,000 people. I don't know, but that's how many people it felt like there was.
Wait, wow.
Yeah, that's probably not 30,000, but there was a ton. Like, more people than I at the Taylor Swift concert. And,
were you, like, tripping over people?
No, so they do it in 2 days, and then they do, like 8 heats.
Oh.
So,
okay.
no, I wasn't tripping over, but there was, like, a lot of people. But I liked it because it meant, like, no matter what, I wasn't going to be, like, the last person to finish, you know? Like, which was what I was afraid of. I was afraid of, like, being the slowest person there.
I feel like there's lots of people that, like, just go out and walk 5Ks.
And there were a lot of walkers, which, amazing. I just, like, I didn't have enough information going into it to, like, that's what I was nervous about. I was nervous about, like, being the slowest person. But it was great. It was super fun, super hilly. It goes through Central Park. It's 3.5 instead of 3.1. It was really fun. I ran like a 12-minute mile, which is really slow. And I could tell, like, so I've been going to the gym and practicing it, and so it wasn't my best time, but I was just, like, pacing myself because the hills were, like, really bad. Like, the first mile, completely flat.
I mean, yeah.
You're like, okay, great, this is easy peasy lemon hard. And then the second mile, it's, like, flat for the first half, and then the second half is uphill, and then you go down a little bit, and then it's called the Sister Twins, or the Sister Hills, because there's a second hill that's just as big that's right next to it. And so the last half mile of the whole race is downhill, but everything else is like up and down. But I did it. It was really fun.
Did they have like little water stations and stuff like that?
They had one water station, because it's not that long of a race, and then they had bananas for us at the end.
Nice.
And it was fun. There was just like fun music, and like it was all for a good cause. So
did you get a t-shirt?
I got 2. So like the Met was a team amongst, like, there was Roku, there was Amex, there's Chase, there's like 100 different law firms. Like, so everybody from your company has its own shirt. So I had a shirt that said the Met Run Club, and then I got a finisher shirt, which was like, I finished the JP Morgan Corporate Challenge or whatever. But both were nice. Like nice quality, like, workout shirts. Like, they weren't just like your average, like, you know, cotton t-shirt.
Free t-shirt.
Like, they were like,
oh, nice.
They were like nice,
good
athletic material. I don't think I'm gonna be a
Yeah.
runner. I don't think this is a lifestyle I want to have, but
Okay. Okay. You didn't feel that runner's
No.
high?
I mean, like when I was
Yeah.
done, I was happy to be done, but I don't think it was worth like.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I haven't trained long enough to like really be like a consistent runner, because
Enjoying it. Yeah.
like, I mean, I want to die the whole time. Like, there's not a part of me that's like, oh, this is something I want to do.
Yeah. Okay.
I just like, I prefer cycling classes. I prefer ellipticaling. I prefer the stationary bike. I prefer the rowing machine all over running.
Yeah. No, I know. The last time I ran a 5K was the last time I ran, and like that day I was like, oh, I'm never doing that again. I hadn't trained for what I was doing, and then it was in the spring, and then I immediately went to I think planting a field, and my knees, like, I went from running to sitting the whole day, and my knees, like, the entire day felt like they had pulses in it, and I was like, oh, I have damaged myself.
Yeah, luckily I had done enough training that I wasn't sore, except for my glutes were killing me, because I did all of my training in the gym, so like on treadmill, so I did like 0 incline, and like I had air conditioning and a fan blowing on me the whole time, and so the hills really made my glutes hurt really bad, but I feel fine today.
Yeah, I had completely kind of fallen off my lifting routine, lifting regimen during planting, and like I was picking up so many rocks.
So
that
you're
I was
done
like,
planting,
this
right?
is a workout.
See, last time we
Yes.
recorded.
Yeah, let me finish
Okay.
that thought, and then we'll talk about that. But I like 4 days ago maybe, I just did squats, and I did like the lightest weight I ever do, and I only did like 5 reps of 5, so I did like 25 squats. And I was like, I'm just going to cap it there, because I know like I haven't been lifting in a while, and I don't want to overdo it. No, I'm telling you, the next day, every single muscle in my body hurt. And then the day after that, it was actually worse.
That's horrible.
Because I didn't do anything that second day, because I was like, oh, I'm going to take a rest day. And then like I think had I like stretched and moved, I would have gotten like less stiff. But then I just absolutely just didn't do anything. I've been abusing my body and not taking care of it in any way. But yeah, planting is done.
Congrats.
I just edited my last like planting YouTube video, so it's like fresh in my mind. We had like 230 acres to go after we got our corn wrapped up. And it took us like 6 days to get that done, because it just kept raining intermittently through it. I had 2 different days. I worked till 2:30 in the morning, and then I started again at 5:30. So there were some like long days in there, but we got her done. So we had really pushed really hard, and we got 300 acres of corn in. I can't remember if we discussed that or not, but basically we were like, great, we got so much of our corn in like a one push. And then we got a pounding rain, we got hail. I was driving your Jeep home in a hailstorm. You didn't have any damage, but I was very scared. We were like scared, because like we got that hard pounding rain makes it like hard for the crops to come up, because they get this hard crust. But then it kept raining, which was frustrating because we couldn't get in the fields, but it was great because it allowed for those crops to kind of go up, and the soil on top always to be kind of wet. So yeah, we are done. We started stride dressing immediately. We have 2 fields that we planted really early that were also kind of the wettest, that we haven't been able to side dress, that we're like kind of anxious about, because basically like you can run over the corn, no matter what, we're gonna have to run over the corn, but when you run over it when it's kind of small, it can kind of grow back, whereas this stuff is like too tall. Also, like, you want to get it to the corn when it's at like a smaller stage, because right now that corn's in the phase where it really needs to be uptaking all that extra nitrogen, so it's kind of already lost out on that optimal time to be getting it. But it doesn't look super stressed. Also, we've had like kind of cooler week this week, so it's not growing as rapidly. But yeah, we're finally on to that next stage, and I am so ready to be done with it. I like tell myself that like I'll have like a slower schedule and not as much going on, but like I just filled out a calendar of what I have on my June schedule, and it's so much. I'm so ready for a break, a slowdown. But I don't know. I'm glad we have stuff in. I know there's some people around here that still have some stuff to be put into the ground, and I know like north of us, there's some places that they just haven't gotten hardly anything done. So I know we're sitting better than some.
Is it a big relief?
I'm tired.
Once it's all in.
Yeah, it is a relief. Also, like controversial. There are like drowned out places that like one would typically replant. But it's been like over a month since we were in some of those fields. And so by the time we go in and replant, when we go to harvest, that stuff won't be ready. So either we like harvest it and it's big lima beans and we get docked, or we have to come back to fields and like for little patches here and there, it doesn't really make too much sense to do that logistics wise. Just we're always pushing at harvest season 2, and so it's like I don't really want to put more on my plate there, so we're kind of just not going to replant. Now obviously if it was like a full field that needed replanted, it'd be a whole different situation. Spots. But it's just spots, and I don't know, it might just also be because I'm so tired and worn out that I'm like just forget about it. And then yesterday, Colin came over. We were able to pick some more rocks too. That's like the other like just silly crazy thing is like when we've been able to get into the fields this spring, it's been go, go, go. And so like we haven't had time to like pick up all of the rocks I wanted to get picked up. And so it's like, do I run over beans and pick them up so I don't damage equipment? Or do I not kill as many beans and then just during harvest we have to be that much more vigilant, vigilant and like, you know, break more pieces on the bean header.
I feel like that's
but
always like,
I don't know. It's just
I was like trying to explain to my friend Rita about farming and why it's like a lifestyle I didn't choose, and like that's a good example of like you're always trying to pick between like two not ideal scenarios. And it's like you like wow, it's clearly so early in the morning, but like you sell like, but like, it's like a stock market, like it's like always a chance. And
it's the you don't know. Yeah, you just don't know what's going to happen, and you can't predict it. And actually, Tanner and I were having this conversation a couple weeks ago, and he's like, "I think this is why so many farmers are religious." I think so too. Because it's like
you have to. Just
and I think it's also just because
power.
You know they're rural communities. It's like you have to offload it onto
plan.
Like something else, and and like just like
in the
let
words
go.
of Taylor Swift,
let go, let God.
Desperate people find faith, and now I pray to Jesus too.
What song is that?
Soon You'll Get Better. It's about her mom having cancer. It's very sad.
Oh, geez. Okay, but she's
beat breast cancer. Yeah, it was when she was in the thick of it. She's never performed that song live because it's too sad.
Interesting. Yeah, that would make sense. That would be a downer. But yeah, so planting is over. I'm feeling burnt out. I really can't complain. There's a possibility we could start side dressing today. So after we get off of this, I'm going to go look at some fields.
Sounds like salad
That's
dressing.
when we put the 20. That's when we put the nitrogen on the fields.
You don't call that
I bought that J&M applicator last year. No, because we're not spraying it. We're knifing it in with a coulter. So basically between the rows, you knife it into the ground, hopefully 6 feet under the ground. And then we also have Y drops that dribble some along the plants. And so we're putting that nitrogen in the ground because nitrogen can volatilize and the sun can like bake it off pretty much. But yeah, spraying would be going over the top. But spraying also needs to get done. But I don't know. There's supposed to be more rain on Sunday, so like questionable and if we could run today. But to be super transparent, I have a massage at 11,
Delightful.
And then Kaylee and I are gonna go to brunch, and so like I'm not trying to cancel brunch, but like obviously like if we can be in the fields, like that is 100% the first priority. But like, I'm not going to be mad if I go to the field. It's too wet. I'm like, oh darn, I have to keep my plans.
Well, that's fun. Brunch
Also,
is fun.
like, I'm either way, I'm going to the massage because I'm not going to cancel on her last minute. And 1 hour of difference is not going to change anything. So,
love a massage. Love that for
yeah.
you. That's so nice.
Yeah. And then Kaylee has all these things going on. Gage got his wisdom teeth out, and then her daughter's been sick, and then they had a hog fire last night.
That's so scary.
Yeah, so we were picking rocks, and just Colin and I, and we saw like an initial plume of smoke, and I was like, that doesn't look good, but it wasn't a ton, and so I was like, maybe someone's like burning tires boldly in the middle of the day. And then there was like a second plume, and it was like a lot, and it was like we were driving from one field home, and like so like it was like 15 minutes of like nonstop smoke, and we were like, oh, something bad is happening. So yeah, a barn caught fire, and I don't have any other details. It had been on like the local news of people had responded
That's
to
so
it and
scary.
stuff. But
I like when our neighbor's barn caught fire when we were young little children. That's like
okay, yeah. You tell me. Dad and I were talking about it this morning. Tell me what you remember, because I think I remember what was going on pretty well, but I don't know if I also made it up in my head.
Horrible. Oh my god, I'm like bleeding. Hold on. I just picked a scab.
What the?
Pause so I don't get blood on my couch.
Just do 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 do. Do 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 do. Kenzie's bleeding on her couch.
Here's the thing about me. I pick my skin, and I wish I didn't, but I do, and I'm constantly bleeding. Anyways,
it happens.
So here's the thing about me. I do not remember our childhood that well. Like, I have a pretty good memory of like the last, 10 years of my life, but I don't know if it's because our grandparents kept dying, so I just like blocked it out. But I don't remember much. But I do remember we were like at Baton. Or gymnastics. It was one of those. I don't know. Although I feel like it was Baton. But now.
Okay, but you think we were
conflating, at it? This time with the time
we got left,
which was Baton. So maybe this was gymnastics. I think it might have been gymnastics. Dad was picking us up, and I don't know how we knew, but we got home and the barn was on fire. And so we were in the truck, and Dad just like pulled in to try to help Mitch. And all I really remember in my memory is just like sitting in the truck and seeing a giant barn on fire and hearing cows mooing, which is like so upsetting because the cows, while Mitch like he managed to get the gates open, they just like didn't know that they could leave. Now tell me what actually happened, because I was probably like, I don't know, 6, and so
yeah, that's not how I remember. So the baton and gymnastics is the funny thing. I remember being in a leotard and having a baton, and on Wednesdays we went to gymnastics and then baton. So I think it was a Wednesday. The way I remember it is that we were going to it. So we were like leaving to go to gymnastics and baton, and the barn caught on fire. And then so we went over with Dad, and then Dad was there for a long time, and we heard the cows and stuff. But what I remember is like Mitch did all he could to try to get them out, but the gates and stuff were already so hot that he couldn't get things, and he was like, and Dad was a volunteer firefighter, so like Dad knows firefighting things, and I think Dad was like, it's not safe to be in there. It was like it caught really quick. It really engulfed things really quick. And it was like an older barn. And it was an old barn, obviously straw, things in there. And yeah, so what I can remember is I thought they couldn't get the gates open because it was already too hot. It was already kind of too late. But I totally remember the like sound of distressed cows, and then it kind of like gradually got like just dead quiet, but like also obviously the sounds of fire, just not the sounds of animals anymore. And then I thought it was like it had been so long that Dad was just like, let's just skip baton of gymnastics for the day, and so then he dropped us back off at home, and we were like watching out the windows, and he went back over to like help Mitch assess, you know, and of course in that time like fire.
Yeah. So my friend
stuff.
Kimber, friend of the pod, both her parents, her dad was a volunteer, or maybe he was a legit firefighter. Anyway, it might have been a volunteer firefighter, and her mom was an EMT.
Legit.
And I don't remember if he was like. I think he.
Yeah, a full time. I think they call it career firefighters now.
I don't remember. He might have just been a volunteer.
Versus volunteer.
But they got it on the radio, and they thought it was our house because like they don't know our address. They just like they were like, oh, it's beside Snowmeadow Road. And they came so fast because I mean obviously they would go fast regardless, but they thought it was like our home. And then they were really relieved to see it was just a livestock barn and not anyone's house. But, yeah, that was a traumatizing event. It's just a sad thing about, like, the cows suffocating and this livestock.
Oh, yeah. And
so
it's sad. And it was like fat cattle, and it was like, you know, like, obviously, like, the monetary thing, like, that's small potatoes, but, like, just and it's like, you know, he had this barn, it was like a, you know, nice barn, and you know, it's just like history and stuff too. Just sad
it
stuff.
Is, but luckily no human was hurt. But
yeah, and like better than a house fire and losing all of your things.
House fires, so scary.
Oh my goodness, yes.
That was one of my fears I had as a small child. It's because, like, we do a lot of fire safety in school, and so it's just, like, something that I'm like, I'm going to deal with it at some point. And it would just really freak me out that our house was going to catch fire.
Yeah, I've also, it was like, your house is going to catch fire, also everyone's going to offer you drugs, and I'm here to say, I still have yet to be offered drugs. And there's going to be
a tornado and quicksand, and...
Tornadoes for sure. Yeah, no, like our area is now becoming like a tornado area.
Know, that's so
we had
scary.
Damage. Now, it didn't technically have a tornado. We had like high straight line winds or whatever, and we got a lot of damage in town. But yeah, and then hail a couple weeks. It's just like the weather has been weathering, and I don't like it.
Tornadoes, I think, are so scary.
I don't like it.
Speaking of Glenn Powell's
so scary.
New Twister movie is coming out this weekend.
That looks so
but
good.
Again, I'm like scared of tornadoes, so I don't really want to see it. But I don't think we get tornadoes in Manhattan.
That would be devastating if you did.
But we do get hurricanes.
Yeah. Well, and they said that like the tornado alley is like moving up supposedly more towards Ohio.
Because a tornado, it's a cold front and a warm front meeting each other.
Kenzie, I'm not going to pretend like I have any idea.
And then...
I have no clue. I couldn't tell you. And then a hurricane's just on water.
I don't know.
Or is it a hurricane that's in the ocean, so then it has water?
I'm gonna say, is a hurricane a tornado in the ocean?
It's obviously, I would think, maybe more devastating because there's like water and wind.
Okay, is a hurricane a tornado?
And flood, because then you'd have flooding, whereas like a tornado, you just have all your buildings to shreds.
The most obvious difference between a tornado and a hurricane is that a hurricane's horizontal scale is about 1,000 times larger than a tornado. In addition, hurricanes and tornadoes form under different circumstances and have different impacts on the atmosphere. So they're different things.
Okay. But similar vibes.
Yeah, a hurricane is a rapidly rotating storm characterized by low pressure centers that originates from warm waters. Look at this funny image. This is what came up.
That's
I'm very
weird.
I mean, like in terms of natural disasters, I don't know actually which is worse. Like I'm scared of tornadoes. I guess like maybe earthquakes. I mean, earthquakes can be really dangerous, but I think I'd rather have an earthquake than a hurricane. Unless I was in a building that was collapsing.
Yeah. I don't know. Because, like, an earthquake, like, you don't know what's coming,
exactly.
right?
It's just happens.
Kind of like, oh, it happened. Whereas, like, a tornado, you're scared.
Yeah.
you know. So what do you, like in New York, since like everyone's in high-rise buildings, if there's going to be a hurricane, does everyone try to go to basements?
I don't know. I don't live in a
Are there
high-rise
basements? But you live in a bit like, but like in theory, even if you live in like a one-story
like
house, you're supposed to go to the
hurricane
basement.
shelters, I think. I don't
Okay.
know.
I feel like that's something you might want to know.
I hope a hurricane doesn't come while I'm here. In Vegas, there's no like natural disasters. They don't get anything.
Yeah, except for like, aren't there like snakes and what are those things with the tails?
Oh,
the pokies.
Scorpions.
I don't know. I know they have scorpions in Arizona. But
so a couple different things. Eleanor is getting married in 2 weeks from yesterday, so that's exciting.
Wow, that like came quick.
So that's crazy. And then I was gonna say something else, but now it left my brain.
Remy's coming on vacation. Remy's coming to the farm. Rumi. I can't ever say it right.
You said it right. Rumi.
Oh, Rumi. Okay, and see, then I go and I question him like Rumi.
No, Rumi. Think like Rumi. A roommate. Like he's your roomie.
Yeah, Rumi. Oh, okay. I can remember that from now.
Yeah, Eddie is driving to Pennsylvania, and Mom is also driving to Pennsylvania. So Eddie, excuse me, Rumi, kind of a high maintenance doggo, doesn't like being left alone. So Eddie is now working at a law firm, and he has to go in 5 days a week, which his schedule hasn't been that demanding. And so normally when he has like classes all day or whatever, he just sends Rumi to daycare. But sending Rumi to daycare 5 days a week would be a lot for Rumi, and also just really expensive. And so he looked at sending Rumi to Vegas, and like Rumi can't go in the cabin. He has to go under the plane, and Eddie doesn't want to do that. And so he asked Mom if Rumi could have a staycation in Ohio for 3 weeks. And I totally was like, Mom, like, no pressure. You can completely say no. Like, Rumi can go to where he boards for a long time. But Mom was, like, totally down to do it. So,
oh, yeah. Mom is a fan of all pets. And he gets to, like, come to the farm.
I know. I don't think he's ever seen, like, he's never, like, had a chance. He's gone to, like, dog parks. But, like, nothing as big as our backyard.
Open. Yeah. Well, and he's not going to come to the actual farm because we have mouse poison. So I don't let like any pets to the actual farm.
Yeah, the farm is in like my parents' house.
That'll be fun.
I know he's like super well behaved. So Eddie sent him to the farm when he got him, which was like a boarding school, like where they teach him to behave. And I was like, just know when he comes back, he's not going to remember any of that.
I know. Well, that's so because Mom and Dad, I had been talking to them, and Mom's like, I hope I don't undo all of his training. And I was like, well, you just need to learn the commands. And she's like, well, you can learn the commands. Or no, I think Dad had said like, oh, you could learn the commands. And she was like, well, you can learn the commands. And it was like, they can't be that confusing.
Really
it can't be too many.
It's
I'm sure
like,
it's not over.
He can't jump up on the furniture unless invited to.
Yeah, so he needs to not watch Scout do whatever she pleases and be like, oh, well, why can't I? I have free will.
But when he goes to his, like, Eddie's friend's house and they watch him for the weekend, like, he never has to follow the rules and stuff. So, like, it's fine.
Okay.
I know. I hope everything goes well. I hope they have fun. I hope. He hangs out with dogs all the time, so I'm not worried about, like seeing Scout and Ethel. Like, I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yeah. No, it'll be fun. I'm gonna go over there and visit with them for sure. But yeah, and so Tanner and Eddie they're going to Vegas in 2 weeks.
I keep
next week.
That. Yeah, they have Tanner's bachelor party.
So, yes. Tanner survived. So he got back from Josh's last week, and he was like, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. He also started a new position at work. And so like this week he was like doing all of his like onboarding and new things. But like now I think that he's been home and he'll be home next week and then he'll be going, and I think he'll be excited. He's definitely like a person that's like near the end of a trip, he's ready to be home. And he was like, I just can't believe that I'm like on a trip and then I'm home and then I'm leaving again. And then we're looking at tickets too, because we're coming to New York City.
New York.
So
I know. I'm so excited. It sucks because like I'm not gonna take any days off work, but like it's fine because no one on my team is working, so I'll be.
Well, I feel like we're gonna see each other like a ton this summer anyway.
Girl, when else are we gonna see each other? You mean like your wedding?
My
I know.
wedding?
I took 6 days off.
I mean, it'll just be like a week of time, and then you saw me like in March.
When did I see you in March? Oh, your bachelorette.
Yeah. Yeah. So for Eleanor's wedding, like what's up?
So it's in New
Tell me about it.
Jersey. So Eleanor's from Indiana, and Utsav, her
Indiana. Hey, Indiana.
She's from South Bend. She actually lives in Pete Buttigieg's childhood home. All her parents do.
Wild.
And her husband, Utsav, is from India. And they decided to do the wedding in New Jersey because families were going to have to travel regardless. So might as well do it in a place where she could plan it, like where she lives.
Well, and like I feel like in New York City would be absolutely insane.
And it's just like 30 minutes outside New York City. And it's at like this little cottage like inn thing, and you get married outside, and there's like a gazebo, and then you have a reception indoor, outdoor. It has like an outdoor patio, but there's also indoor, and then there's a hotel like on site, so everything's like in the same little area.
Nice.
And she's getting married on a Friday. And so Thursday, we're all, Utsav's renting a car for the whole week. So we're all driving out together for the rehearsal dinner. And then she gets married on Friday. And then we'll come back to the city on Saturday. And then they're doing a Hindu ceremony on Sunday. So it's a full week of festivities. I'm a bridesmaid. So I've like never been a bridesmaid. In Cody's wedding, we were the best women.
Which is essentially being a bridesmaid.
There, but I was also 16. So this is like my first time being a bridesmaid as like an adult. Which is very exciting. We're wearing green, which is my favorite color. And it should be really fun. I'm excited. It's considered a micro wedding. There's 55 people. So it's going to be nice. We're going to have, it's all vegetarian.
Nice.
So I think the meal is pad thai, which I'm excited about. Hello, Marty.
That's fun. Are you guys doing like hair and makeup, or are you guys just doing your own?
So we're getting hair and makeup. So there's like a bridal suite, which we got to pick out our breakfast for last week. We're doing like a bagel spread, and then mimosas, and we're getting our hair and makeup done, which is exciting. I've never had my makeup professionally done before.
This is my tip. Go in with a picture of like, this is what I want. Make sure it's someone that has the same skin tone and hair coloring as you. Because like if it's like, I mean, you could have like multiple pictures. If you're like, okay, I want this style, but like in these colors, but like look for pictures that are in your coloring.
It's a good advice.
I just twice, I think I was just like, just do whatever you want. And I wasn't happy with it. Like go in with like, this is the vibe.
Okay, that's great. I need to do some research. I also need to do some research about what I want my hair to do. I was thinking, like, where you, like, have your front pieces, like, tucked away, and then you just have, like, curls. I was thinking maybe something like that. I also just, like, half up, half down. I don't know. I just need to do some research on the old Pinterest, because I don't know what I want to do for your wedding either.
Yeah. Yeah, so like the first couple weddings I was in, like right out of college, like everything was like always like an updo, and I never did an updo, so I would do like a half up, half down, because like my thought was like, okay, I'm paying this person to do my hair, like, and no matter what, like the price is the same. So if they just curl it and leave it down, like what am I paying for?
No, for
You
sure.
know what I mean? But like I just personally I don't like my hair in like an updo. Like I'm just always like a hair down person when I like am doing it. So like I did lots of like I did like a fun little ponytail thingy at the last wedding I was in, I think. And then I did like just like some pieces back or whatever. Always like half up, half down. But I've also never had like Kaylee for my wedding is having a dress that has like a neck to it, and I'm like, oh, that would look good with like an updo
or like a pony.
But yeah.
Have you thought about your hair for your wedding?
No, I haven't. And my hairdresser was like, yeah, send me some inspo pics, and I was like, yeah, will do. And I haven't. This is my thing is like, so I want it to be down. I don't really love like the big, like the wave thing. Like, have you seen that where like people just do the big voluminous waves? Like, I can't picture that on my head just because I always do my curls the exact same way. And then also like, personally, I don't like when people have their hair completely down and then they have their veil just like
the middle of your head,
clipped to the back, just chilling. I just don't like the way that looks personally. So I got to figure something out there. So like maybe I'll do like a little half up thing just so that like
stick your veil.
I have something to stick the veil in, and then maybe if it's like simple enough that I could like take it out and like just have my hair be wavy, and also kind of like this back, and then like the just a voluminous curl situation. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to I think I'm just gonna so she's gonna do my hair, and then we're gonna do a trial, which like normally when she does my hair it takes
you're gonna be there for like
so
9
I can
hours.
only imagine it's gonna be a day. It's gonna be a full day, and also she lives like 2 hours away from me, so it's like truly going to be a day of doing the hair. Luckily she's like so cool, and it'll be like just someone I can like hang out with all day,
so easy to talk
I won't
to.
mind. But yeah, I don't know. And then also like I was like, oh, I need to figure out what I need to do with my nails, and like what do I want my makeup to look like, and I just don't know any of those things. But I get my dress fitted in like 2.5 weeks maybe. So all those like, because like for planting season I was like, I'm just putting everything on the back burner until we're done, and now like I'm done, and like all of these things are actually here, and I'm like, oh, this is when things like get real.
I went to 3 dress fittings, so I feel like I'm a pro. But that's
I feel like I need
Eleanor
to.
had some like pretty serious alterations that needed to get right. So that's I don't think they normally take that many trips to the.
Well, I think did she have 3 total?
She had 3 or 4.
Okay, because I was gonna say, because like normally you go, you have it pinned or whatever, maybe an alteration, and then if they need to do something else, another. I don't know. I have no idea.
But I am like added lace and stuff to
like,
different areas to make it a little bit more conservative, and that's like I think what was taking. They wanted to get the lace part right.
Yeah, there's like one part of my dress I'm thinking about removing, but like I don't want to like remove it and then be like, oh, it shouldn't have been removed, and then have to like have it put back
that
on.
part should be
like,
removed. I feel strongly about that.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Well,
Eleanor added a belt to her dress. That's the only thing she didn't.
Okay.
She added lace and a belt, and that was.
Yeah, that's my only like. I like the like I see where the belt adds the.
Like it accentuates your waist, but like.
It essentially is the waist, but like I think maybe the dress will look fine if it's not.
Fine without it. Also, because it like kind of cuts
there's so much going on with it already.
Like a seam.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
I can't believe you're getting married. That's so exciting.
I know, it's wild. And like then there's just like silly things. I'm like, oh, like we have to figure out how to get the marriage certificate thingies.
Yeah.
Like, we just have a lot of paperwork we need to get done.
Yeah, you gotta go to the courthouse.
It's a lot.
You're not changing your last name, are you?
No. I don't care if people call me Zoe
Yeah.
Bachelor, because, like, Bachelor is a
True.
sick last name, or call us the Bachelors. Like, I don't care. I'm personally not going to change it. As a little kid, I always loved my name. It's super easy. It's 7 letters total, first name to last name. All of my farm is under that, and so, like, that would just be a whole, like, just so, like, there's, like, the standard hassle of all the things we have to change, and then I'd have to do, like, all these things for the business as well. The other thing too is, like, being a female farmer, like, when I call people and I'm like, hey, this is Zoe Kent with Kent Family Farms, like, the Kent adds a little bit more, like, quote unquote validity. Now, obviously, sometimes I'm then assumed to be the wife or daughter of said farm, which, whatever, but I feel like if I'm like, oh, I'm Zoe Bachelor with Kent Family Farms, they're 100% going to assume I'm a secretary. Which, like, also, like, it doesn't matter if some random person I don't know assumes I'm not in the position I am at the farm. No, it doesn't really matter. But I don't know. It's just, like, a personal preference, I guess.
Watching Eleanor have to, like, do all the paperwork, absolutely not. I'm not changing my last name. It's
well, and then because then the other thing is, like, people that all, like, the thing that people always say is, like, well, don't you want to have the same last name as your kids? And my hot take to that one is, like, everyone I know is divorced. Everyone has kids with different last names, and like, I don't know. I feel like people have different last names as their kids all the time.
Eddie has a different last name than both his parents, and his parents have different last names to each other. Every single person in his family has a different last name. And
that's interesting.
He's fine.
Is that a cultural thing, or is that...
I'm not actually sure.
They didn't want to change their last names, and so they just gave him a new one?
Maybe. I don't know. He's definitely told me the story. Now he's going to be listening to this, cursing my poor memory. He's going to be like, I've told you this 10 times. But but it is like, they'll be like, oh, it's Mr. and Mrs. Roscoe. And they'll be like, yeah, that's us, even though that's, like, not. And, like, that's fine. Like, it's just fine.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be a person that would be like, actually, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't. It's no big deal. It is every once in a while. It's really funny when someone's like, oh, the Kent family, and it's like me and Tanner. Just like if I put my name down for something. And
you're like, yes, we are the Kent family.
And it's like, yes, and we're not even a family. But I think that was like. I can't remember what that was for specifically, but it was, like, interesting, and, like, I wasn't going to correct, you know, it could have been as casual as, like, reservations at a restaurant, and it was like, yeah, sure,
we're the Kent family.
Yeah, but yeah, that's me. Also, I do feel like whenever I say, like, oh, I'm not taking this last name, like, I feel like I have to do the disclaimer of, like, I'm not judging you if you change your last name. Like, I don't care. I think everyone should do whatever they want to do. Yeah, I agree. And I don't know, like, I just don't want, like, anyone to be like, oh, Zoe must think differently of me because I don't know. It's just, like, 100% a personal preference for me.
And it's just me being lazy.
Yeah, that too. That's the root of it all. I had to go to the DMV
three times to get my license. I'm not going back.
Yeah, I know. Well, and I paid for, like, the 8-year one, so...
Look, this is what I'm stuck with.
I'm not losing my money there.
Now Eleanor needs to figure out, like, if she should change her last name at work. And, like, everyone knows her as Eleanor Thomas. Like, that's her emails, Eleanor Thomas. Like, it's just so many things where...
Yeah.
It's just, like, should she just keep that for her, like, professional name? But, yeah.
Yeah. But then then you run into it's confusing because you're this person here and this person there. There's no, like, flawless, seamless way it seems to do any of these things. I don't know. And I'm also the person that's, like, so bad at, like, when someone changes their last name that I, like, it takes me forever.
I still
like,
call
I
Kaylee
will always think of, like,
Christian God-given last name.
yeah, and then I have to, like, no, it's this, just because it's like I knew her for so many years as, like, the one, and then it's like for whatever reason it's just, like, hard for me to it's easy. Well, I don't know. I was gonna say, like, it helps a little bit, like, on Instagram for people that have like their first and last name and then they change it, because then you start seeing that last name all the time and it gets like ingrained in my head.
Your roommate
a little
Jess
bit.
actually had a great rebrand, and now I know Jess by her new name.
Yeah.
You know, her original name had a
well,
good
and
ring
so
to
and
it.
so her original name. Well, but her original name is now her sister-in-law's name, because they're both Jesses. So she's now the old Jess Carter, and then there's like a new Jess Carter. And I follow Jess Carter, the new one, which is like so confusing, because it's like, you know, because she. So yeah, and they have the same middle initial
Carter.
too in their names, because like. Yeah, so they were like, we have to figure out something.
That is funny. She's not the only person I know whose brother married someone with their sister's name. Yeah,
Kaylee too.
Great example. Yeah, where a new Kaylee is now replaced.
Yeah, just think about that nightmare at like a family reunion. You're like, oh, this is so and so, and you're like, but I thought that was so and so, and you're like, it was. And this is the new one.
Yes, crazy. Crazy times. Crazy times, dude. My allergies. Are your allergies bad?
I don't know if it's like even specifically allergies or just dirt in general. Picking rocks, I always just get like dirt in my throat and stuff. But I haven't had horrible allergies yet. Usually mine are like more of like a dead of summer allergy.
Interesting. Mine's definitely a spring, and then by the dead of summer it kind of goes away. But my eyes have been drier than the Sahara Desert. Just dry. Also, I go to doctors every day. I'm not trying to make this about my own health journey, but I have 4 doctor's appointments in a month span. I'm fine.
You had
I've had
them?
2.
Okay.
I have 2 more.
So you haven't found anything?
I have to go back to my pulmonologist, and then I have to go to a cardiologist.
Okay, but you haven't found anything out, right? Okay.
Yeah. I think, I had an EKG. My heart looks normal. Yeah.
That's
I just
good.
have a really high pulse. So, I went to just like my general practitioner for like my yearly checkup, and my only concern was I just have a really fast pulse. But I've always had a really fast pulse. Like, I knew in high school I couldn't ever donate blood because they're like, your pulse is too fast, and I do
the blood would just squirt out
and
too
I do
quickly.
have anxiety, and so like I always just kind of chalked it up to that. But then I decided like maybe I should get this checked out, and like my resting heart rate will be between, I've seen it as low as 85, but it's usually in the 90s, which 60 to 100 is normal. So I'm still like in the range. I'm just like high in the range, and then just walking it can get up to 150, and then running it can get to 200. And so just to like make sure my heart was okay, and it seems to be okay. So I think I just have a really high pulse, which is fine, but good to have checked out.
Yeah, good to know.
Yeah. So
I like, as we were on this call, I got like a e-check-in for a doctor. I'm like, what's that?
an e-check-in.
It's just like with my normal doctor again. It's like, it's nice that you can like check in online or whatever, but like every single time it's like all this information, and it's like I don't have to update anything because I've like I understand if it's like you're once yearly, you need to go in and like actually edit that information, but like nothing's changed in the last 6 times that I've logged in, and it's like so many pages you have to click through, and like everything's the same.
No, I know. I get messages from Mount Sinai pretty regularly, and I'm like, oh my god, I have results, or doctors trying to reach me, and then it's always like, verify your email, and it's like, girl, you know my email, you send it to me. Or like whenever I get the emails that are like, fill out the survey, I'm like, there's no part of me that's going to do that. I don't ever do surveys.
I don't know. No, I really don't. Every once in a while, like if it's something that I actually have an opinion on.
Are you someone who leaves reviews?
Like, sometimes
have you ever
there's
left a review? I've never left a review.
I've never left a review. There was like twice I think I'd left like podcast reviews, but it was like, if you leave a review, then you might win blah 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 or whatever. And I was like, oh, I can do a 2-minute review on a podcast. But I'm not a reviewer. I'm also not a person that like posts when I'm having a bad experience. I mean, I'll talk crap about my Chase credit card thing that's still unresolved all day, every day on here. But like, I'm not gonna. I wouldn't be the person that would like post on my Facebook channel like, I've had a horrible service with blah blah blah. Yeah.
I don't either.
I don't know. I just like I just like, especially if it was like a small business or something. I just like.
I read reviews. Like before I buy anything, I read reviews. In restaurants, I'll check out reviews, but I never leave reviews.
Mm-hmm. I love Lulu's, like the dress site. I always look at those pictures, and it actually usually deters me from buying dresses, just because. And I don't mean it any shade to like the people that are posting the pictures. You're doing the Lord's work. But normally, like, I'll see a dress and I'm like,
and
oh my goodness, that's gorgeous.
And
then in the pictures, it looks kind of cheaply made or ill-fitting, and I'm like, oh, if my body looks like that,
I agree. I love that feature.
It usually just more deters. Yeah, it more deters me from purchasing, which like might be.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love when the reviews have pictures of the products in real life on real people, because a lot of times, like with these, 8-foot tall gazelles that are, size 00, like they'll wear a trash bag and it'll look good. Like, and also it's obviously it's like a photo shoot. Things are like clamped and whatever.
Pinned.
And then when you see it on an actual person, you can be like, oh, maybe I actually don't want that. So yeah, I agree. That's the best.
I have such an urge to buy a sewing machine and learn to sew, because I have so many clothes that are like just slightly ill-fitting, and if I could just learn how to tailor them, I would like them so much more. But I also like don't have any faith in myself to like actually be able to tailor anything well.
You should just get a tailor.
No, because like the thing is, like, these are $30 pants, and by the time that I can spend $100 getting them altered, I'm gonna be like, oh, I should have just not bought these pants. Because tailors are insanely expensive.
No, I didn't know that. I have to get my bridesmaid dress tailored.
Yeah. The one for Eleanor's or the one for mine? Okay, I was gonna say you might be a little
the one
late.
for Eleanor's fits me perfectly.
Oh, awesome.
The one for yours fits me fine. It's just a little long. I think they sell. I got it from Show Me Your Moo, and I think they sell them long, and so a lot of them are like they have tons of bridesmaid dresses on that site, and I think they do that on purpose. So you can like customize the height. Yeah,
because you can always get them cut shorter, but you can't get them extended. Yeah. But okay, well I need to wrap this up because I need to go check my fields and.
Well, enjoy your massagio.
Thank you.
Have a lovely weekend, and I'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.